are a lot of misunderstandings about the finances behind a publishing deal. So in this episode, we thought we would break down the basics for you and let you know what it's really about. Welcome back to Coffee with the Authors. I'm Wendelin Van Draanen, and this is Mark Parsons, and we are here to help you decode the craft and business of writing.
Okay, so if you get a book deal, a lot of times people will ask you, well, how much did you get for your book? And what they really mean is, actually, that's a very complex question. What they're really looking for is they're looking for the advance. So let's talk about that first. Typically, the advance for a debut author at a mainstream publisher will be somewhere in the 5-figure range, which is very broad. I usually say it's not new house money, sometimes it's new car money. The reason it's so broad is because there are all these different factors that go into it, which is the size of the publisher and their budget, which is, are you totally unknown, or maybe you're a bit of a Kardashian or something, or the actual book itself, and maybe they think the book's got commercial appeal because it's addressing a hot topic or whatever. So for many reasons, the advance is going to vary, but generally it'll be somewhere in that mid-ish, low, mid, sometimes upper 5-figure range. The advance is typically paid out in 3 installments, generally upon signing, and then upon acceptance, which we'll talk about in a minute, and then upon publication. Then we get to the big question of exactly what is an advance. An advance is actually, they give you an advance payment on future royalties. The big thing to remember about an advance is, you never have to pay it back. Even if your book comes out, you do everything right, you deliver them a book as per your contract, they have to give you the advance, you get the advance. Even if the only one who buys a copy is your mother, you still get to keep that advance money. However, you won't start earning royalties on that book until it earns out. And earning out basically means that you've sold enough copies that the potential royalties have exceeded your advance.
So royalties, what are royalties? It's the money you get paid for the sale of each book. And for Big 5 publishers, that is usually 10% of the list price of a hardcover book. And if you sell a certain amount of books, that can escalate to like 12.5%. If you sell a whole bunch, that could escalate to 15%. So generally, those are the numbers. With a paperback book, that's usually around 7% of the list price. So even if they sell the books for less than the book says it is going for, you get that percentage of the list price of the book. For digital copies and like audio or ebooks, you get usually 25% of the net. So whatever the publisher makes or sells it for, the 25% comes from that figure, not from what it's listed for. And with royalties, you usually get paid twice a year. So they accumulate all those dollars and, couple of dollars. They all go into like a piggy bank for you at the publishing house. And they collect all that money for you for every book that sells. And then at the end of 6 months, they will pay the amount over the amount they advanced you. So sometimes a book will earn out quickly if it becomes a bestseller and the advance was modest. Sometimes, and lots of times, the book never earns out, which means that the author never receives royalties because they never got those chunks of money from the sale of the book up to the advance figure. So for example, for a book that lists or sells for $19.99, that's about $20, if you're getting 10%, you would get $2 for every hardcover book that is sold. For a paperback book that sells for, let's say, $13, if you're getting 7%, that would give you about $1 per book sold. Those dollars and $2, they add up until you get back to your advance. And after that point, that's when you start receiving royalties.
Okay, let's talk about the finances of an agent for a second. Basically, you pay your agent 15% of the proceeds that the publisher would pay you. The publisher pays the agent typically twice a year, like Wendelin just said, And then basically the agent will actually take out their commission at that point and then pass along the rest to you with a real strict accounting from both the publishing house and the agency. Having an agent will typically get you a more favorable contract, and the publisher will often boost the advance when there's an agent involved. And finally, they have the possibility of getting you foreign rights, which we'll talk about in a second. So for those reasons, an agent is generally worth every penny you pay them.
So let's talk about foreign rights for a minute. So if you're looking for an agency, you may want to check to see if they have an active foreign rights department, because foreign rights, although they don't seem on the surface to be any big deal, they really are, and they're super fun. So if you have an agency that retains the foreign rights, then they're going to be the one that goes out to the various markets around the world and tries to place your book with them. If your publisher holds back the foreign rights, then they're going to be the ones that reach out around the world to try to place your book there. With foreign rights, sometimes it's really good money and sometimes it's basically nothing. Because you have a sub-agent at the other country will take 10%, and then the agency will then take 10% instead of 15%, but you wind up with a net loss there of 20%. And then often there are other fees associated with it, like the government of the other country will take a certain amount, and
Russia.
there's taxing, and sometimes you wind up with not much. But you also wind up with the opportunity to have your work in these foreign markets. And sometimes the money is really good. Sometimes if your book sells super well somewhere, you will wind up with quite a supplemental income, which is great. The other cool thing is actually getting your book in a language that you can't even read. It's just often the art is different. And then you open the book, it's your book, and you think about people in other countries that are reading your book. It's an amazing thing. And it also gives you travel opportunities. I've had quite a few travel opportunities because my books have been translated into other languages. So there are perks outside of the initial amount of money that you wind up with after everybody's chipped away at the advance. But the advance works the same way as it does for a domestic market. So you will get a percentage, and often you don't earn back your advance, but sometimes you really do. So it can be very lucrative as well. So foreign rights is one of those things that I think is a really good extra angle to the whole publishing income streams.
That's probably enough for this episode. We're going to do another episode later on where we talk about film rights and subsidiary rights, and two areas that can be a really good second income stream for authors, especially if you're in the kid lit field, which are speaking engagements and school visits. Meanwhile,
hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode. Remember to dream big, work hard, don't give up,
and keep writing.
I mean, tell the truth. I'm very nice.